So this is Lake George, and just looking at it, you wouldn't know that there's a giant Gypsy Moth Caterpillar infestation destroying trees, because it's kind of spotty. This angle, everything looks okay. But over in this direction at Montcalm Point, where Lake George splits up to Northwest Bay and then up into the Narrows, see all that brown there? Those are deciduous trees that have been stripped out wholesale. Here's the crowns of a beech and an oak tree in our yard, and as you can see, it looks like either early spring or almost winter, were it not for a hint of green here and there. But these trees have been royally stripped out. Luckily, they'll probably recover, I hope. We have this lovely blue spruce that we grew from a little tiny 6-inch tall shoot. So it's about 10 or 12 or 15 years old, whatever it is. And it's like a little miniature Christmas tree. Only it's been a little bit ravaged up top here. And I've been coming out every day or so and plucking these guys off of here because they're just chowing down. And I managed to enlist someone else in this rather weird habit. I mean, there's nothing you can do about these trees. They're stripped and you can't climb up there, so that's hopeless. But the pretty ones down here at eyeball level are getting a little trip into the subway here. Yes, indeed. So in our effort to hold back and put a finger in the dike, we've gone around again, plucking them off our low-standing trees that were used for shade and cover and whatnot, stuff we could reach from maybe ground up to about 6 feet, and we've both collected a healthy jar full of these guys. Not that we're going to stop the overall destruction, but at least we can probably save some of the smaller trees. Maybe. Here's one of the hazards of this line of work. Well, here's a good decoy. They think our garden hose is a branch. It's long and skinny and green. Go ahead, guys. Try to eat that. And of course, if you have a house in these parts, you know they're all over that too, but luckily they can't really eat the house. Good thing they don't eat rubber and aluminum. All right, so it would appear we're writing the final chapter in this catastrophe, or natural wonder if you want to be a little more benign about it, but not when they're chewing your trees up. These are the pupa stage here, where the full fat caterpillars have run their span, they've eaten, and they've mustered enough energy to make this little capsule here, from which a gypsy moth will emerge in some unknown number of days. But we're glad to see this. This means the transformation is underway, and probably because there's just not much left for these guys to eat. All right, I caught one in our beautiful little blue spruce tree, and here he is. He's, you can see he's got a lot of fuzz on him. Well, they're naturally fuzzy anyway, but he's woven some stuff around himself, and he's unusually passive. Usually when you catch him like this, they thrash all over the place to try to get away, but he's wrapping himself in silk, getting ready to disappear inside the little capsule, or the pupa, as we say here in academia land. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but about 13 years ago, we planted a whole bunch of white pines in this area because it was pretty barren after some construction, and boom, they just took off. And unfortunately, pine trees are apparently a little different story, because even though the deciduous trees with leaves, can regenerate pretty easily, pine trees may not be able to. So we're paying a lot of attention to these trees here because they provide nice foresty shade zone and ample cover. So here's a classic example of the old axiom, work smarter, not harder. People I knew in the news business used to say that, and they were just lazy. And here's further confirmation that the pupa stage is being rapidly reached by a lot of these guys. Here's a branch right here sticking out, and there's a half dozen of them glued here. And the caterpillars I'm finding are remarkably sort of slow, which means they're getting ready to go to sleep. All right, here's something a little scary that I just discovered. I noticed this is a hemlock tree, I think, unless my tree identification is completely... But I've noticed that these trees have some unusual damage, and it's got to be the caterpillars. They've chewed through the bark and halfway into the tree. And I don't think it's deer or anything, because there aren't any broken branches here. The deer would have to have broken branches to get this. And they It'll be interesting to see if this tree survives because of this damage here. So here's the unfun homeowner downside here. If you got a deck or something under the trees, it gets covered with little tiny micro poops. And the only cure is to hose them off because they stick. The rain doesn't get rid of them. So you gotta just wash and wash and wash. Not fun. Well, as darkness falls, we can still hear that little ping, ping, ping of things falling from the trees. We're not quite done yet, but I think we can be thankful for one thing, that there isn't some research institute here in the Lake George Basin that is looking to do gain of function stuff with these caterpillars.
He's alive! Alive!
Maybe add one of our other native species' worst characteristics, like the rattlesnakes up on Tongue Mountain, fangs and venom, or the black flies. Make the caterpillars bite and suck blood. That would be a unwelcome change. And with that fanciful thought, good night, everybody.